Hey, Lakeshore, welcome back to Life Lifters. This is Pastor Frank. Thanks so much for joining us today. Some of you know that I lost both of my parents back in November to COVID-19. And I just think back to that time. And there was so much communication going on when my parents were sick between my sisters and I, and contacting doctors and family members. And then, when they passed, it was just a barrage of texts and phone calls, making funeral arrangements. And, this is all in the middle of the pandemic. And, it became, at least for me, overwhelming. And in some ways, a good overwhelming, because people really loved on us and were checking in on us and caring for us. But in another sense, it was a very busy time. Life was still going on in many sense, managing tensions at work and making sure that the kids were getting where they needed to go, because there was a period of time from the time that they passed until we were able to have the funeral. And so I became very overwhelmed, if I can be honest with you, through all of this. And I don't know about you and how you feel when you get overwhelmed, but it's in those moments that God really wants us to draw close to Him. And we see this in Scripture with Jesus and His disciples in the Gospel of Mark, chapter 6, verse 31. They were in a very overwhelming situation. There were people that needed to be fed, people that needed to be healed of sickness, and people were coming and going. There were false teachers to be rebuked. There were demons to be cast out. There were lives that needed changing, and that's what Jesus came for. And all of this happening in the shadow of the cross that Jesus was to face. And so Mark 6:31 gives us a glimpse of this. It says the following. Then, because so many people were coming and going that they did not even have a chance to eat, Jesus, said to them, get this, come with me by yourselves to a quiet place and get some rest. This is an invitation by Jesus for you to go with Him, to be with Him, the Son of God, the creator of the universe, the lover of your soul. He is inviting you in those times when we're overwhelmed to go away with Him. He wants you to be alone with Him. He doesn't want others around. It's time to, forget about the kids for a moment, forget about your spouse and maybe your parents that you're taking care of. He wants you to spend time with Him by yourself in a quiet place. Put the phone away, right? Don't worry about the office for a moment. I'm not saying that you totally neglect all of these things, but Jesus wants us to spend a part of our day with Him, and may I suggest the first part of our day. Come with me by yourselves to a quiet place, not a place where there's a lot of traffic and whether it's a coffee shop or maybe your house at 8:30 when people are running here and there trying to get where they need to be going, but a quiet place where you can listen for the voice of God, and God can hear clearly from you what's on your heart. And why does God want us to do this? So you can get some rest, some peace, so you don't feel so overwhelmed with the burdens of life. This is what Jesus has in mind for us, to give us that rest. And so this is my go-to verse. When life, becomes stressful, I'm overwhelmed, I can't focus. That happens often, but I got to remind myself to spend time with God. As I mentioned, for me, it's in the morning. Maybe for you, it's in the evening. Before the kids get up and people are showering and they got to get a bus and they got to run here and there. That's when I got to focus. that's when I can focus with God. That's my appointment with God. When is your appointment with God? I would love to hear. Maybe in the comments, share with us, how do you get away and spend time with God? And I'll tell you, my days tend to go more smoothly when I put first God and I listen to Him, and I have my Bible. I pray and I ask God to speak to me from what I'm reading so I can apply that to my day. My day tends to go a little bit better. My days are still crazy, but the way I handle the craziness is markedly different than the days that I don't spend time in my Bible with God by myself in a quiet place, and I end up not getting any rest. So, like I said, share in the comments below. Would love to hear from you. How do you handle that craziness? How do you get away and spend time with God? And maybe when you share something, maybe it'll encourage somebody else to do the same in their life. So thanks so much for spending time with me at Life Lifters this week. I hope you found it encouraging, and we'll look forward to seeing you next week. Don't just have a great day, go and make a great day.